Hi, it's Dawn Del Vecchio here. I forgot to put my headset in. This video is entitled The Human Condition and Leadership in These Times. Like many of you, I participate in a number of Facebook groups and private forums, mostly with people who are developing themselves spiritually or are on a conscious path of awakening. And indeed, we are living in the times of the beginning of what some call the Great Awakening. And I wanted to address the concept of leadership in through this lens, and the hijacking that goes on in leadership, and also the what's the word, the charlatanism that also sometimes happens, and to look at those things with a compassionate heart as well. So here we are, we're all these humans, these spirits having a human experience, living in a time and a place where there's a great deal of fear frequency, separation, and a hyper developed left brain and ego identity consciousness for a lot of us. And in the midst of all that, we can throw in toxic food, the acceptance of drugs and alcohol and addiction, toxic TV, a lot of overemphasis on control and the expectations of conformity, the dumbing down of culture. I mean, just on and on. We're living in a soup of energy, of mixed frequencies, of stress, and some real negative energies as well. So here we are, we're these eternal beings, and a small portion of us is here in this body. And we've had 30, 40, 50 years, 25 years, whatever, to say nothing of other incarnations prior to or parallel to this, to develop an ego identity. And that ego identity is often the thing that we're told from our whole life that that's the part of us that has to learn how to cope and succeed on this planet. And so we go about doing things to shield and protect the ego. We have these different parts of us that have jobs and roles to protect us, to help us feel safe in the world. Now, what's happening, and it's been happening for quite some time. It's just that it's starting to come a little more to the forefront. Certainly, I'm seeing it in some of my groups and forums. Is that this ego-driven identity, when it infiltrates our efforts to be real, authentic people, and particularly in roles of leadership, it messes everything up. It really causes problems for the self, for the people who look to us for answers, and for the awakening as a whole. So I've written a post at some point on my blog site, and I think I shared it maybe on Facebook, about this whole like charlatans and how do you know who's true and who's not. Well, we are being called to use our inner discernment more and more. That is absolutely for certain. The other thing, though, I want to say is that I think as people who make a choice to step into a leadership role, particularly any kind of spiritual or healer type of or mentor leadership role, we don't have as much fudge room anymore to not walk our talk. I think I'm kind of dancing around something because it's uncomfortable for me. So let me just say it point blank. There are a lot of people right now out there who are very famous, very successful, and they have some good teachings, and they definitely do help people. But their own lives are very screwball. They're alcoholics, drug addicts, mean. Sometimes they're just mean, self-important, inaccessible, promising the world and delivering a little bit, creating offers for high ticket and very low touch, and not providing the level of transformation that perhaps they did when they first started out. It's easy to get co-opted. And this is why I also talk about we're human. We're human. So perfection is not the objective, but radical self-honesty, yeah. I think the more that we can get honest and clear with ourselves, the more that we can clean up our own act, the more that we can look at external situations and say, how does that thing that's annoying me, that inauthenticity there, that sad story there, reveal to me somewhere that I could even line up even more, clear out my own self-imposed bullshit to myself even more. I'm saddened when I see suffering of any kind. I'm really saddened, however, when I see supposed spiritual leaders who actually are not walking their talk. Because on a energetic level, that frequency goes out too. And the people who are turning to them for information, guidance, support, direction might be receiving some really good stuff, but they're also in that field of mismanaged energy. And so I don't need to go into name calling or pointing names or any of that stuff. I think ultimately these times are calling for us to be authentic, to be aligned, to walk our talk like never before. And I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm certainly not saying I'm perfect at it. It's a learn as we go experience. But the more that we can lovingly accept exactly where we are, and then honestly tune into, how can I step up even more authentically? What do I need to clear out and be honest about? Where am I getting triggered where actually I need to turn inward and look at the truth for myself? The more we can do that, the more effective we will be in bringing about a better world, a better community, a better family life, and a better life for ourselves. So I invite each of you to clear out your energy field in whatever way you can, to be more radically self-honest with yourself, to use your discernment more powerfully when looking to others for truth, including me, and also to be loving and kind to yourself when you do find those parts of you that are full of baloney, that need to be cleared up, aligned, lovingly reined in. So I'm hoping this makes sense to you. I'm hoping that you find a spark of inspiration to just get that much more lined up with the truth of who you are, knowing that you're a human, knowing that perfection is not the goal, but that alignment, authenticity, deep wisdom, access, and discernment are what this is about. I send you bright blessings and much love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for your light in the world.